Hello and welcome to Upsurge. Can you believe it? This is where you're at. You're at the right place where everything is always right. The surge is always positive. We deal with real issues, real questions, real answers, and of course, we always have real people in studio to give us real answers. Well, in studio we have Sister Monique McKenzie. She is the youth choir director, the combined youth choir director for the South Bahamas Conference, and she's also a social worker. We have also Marisa Greene, who is a gospel artist. She sings. I'm waiting on the single, or maybe you never know. But she's also a student at the University of the Bahamas. And then we have Pastor Peter Joseph, who is the Executive Secretary of the South Bahamas Conference. So I'm really looking forward to have a great time here in discussion. Gentlefolks, welcome to Upsurge.
Thank you,
Mr.
Greene. Appreciate
All right, so today we're going to talk about music. What's your vibe? Music, what's your vibe? And by the way, in case you didn't know, I am LG, and just welcome to Upsurge. Music, what's your vibe? How important? The first question on my mind is how important is music in your everyday life experience?
But for music, for me, is very important in my daily life. Apart from my devotional life where singing and music is important. You know, there are moments when I feel sad when I find some good music.
Yeah.
And music, I could actually mean singing as well.
Yes.
Right? And it cheers me on through difficult moments. Music has tremendous benefit for me personally in my day-to-day life.
Yes, okay.
Well, for me personally, I integrate music into my daily devotion as well, and it kind of helps me to start my day off on a positive note because it really is a good mood changer. And so even Sabbath mornings before I go to church, you know, I make myself hype up and happy by playing my favorite gospel playlist, and I'm ready to go for the day.
Okay.
Well, for me, I actually eat, sleep, drink music.
It's a lifestyle.
Music is really a part of me on a daily basis from morning right into bedtime. And so, like Pastor and Marisa said, you know, it's like food.
Yes.
Food for your soul.
Yes.
And so music for me is extremely important.
Okay. No, I am seeing a common denominator in the conversation here, and in fact, in terms of the impact of music on your personal life experience. You're saying it's like a lifestyle. It is something that tells your mood, and if you're down, you know just the right music to play to get in the right move, in the right groove. Now, in the context of youth, right? Because of course we know that we have a mixed audience out there listening, but we have a lot of followers who are young people. In the context of youth, how does music impacts one's behavior?
Well, in the context of youth, music is so crucial. It can impact from a positive perspective and also from a negative perspective. Most times it really depends on the lyrics in the music. While the beat, the rhythm, and all of that plays an important role, the lyrics in the music for me is what really brings either a positive or a negative impact to the young person.
Okay.
Well, for the youth, I can't say that music plays a major role in their lifestyle because music has been used to influence like culture changes. For example, in pop culture, whichever music is most popular, the young people will be singing the songs. They will dress like the music artists and you know, try to emulate what they see. So it does play an important part in lifestyle.
Yeah, that's interesting. So you're saying that music has a way to even tells how an individual will dress?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Yes.
Yeah, music again, and Monique mentioned lyrics. So you have rhythm, you have lyrics, you have harmony, and often a lot of the music today has a lot to do with rhythm. And rhythm, of course, affects your emotion. So there's an appeal to the emotion of people. Not just in secular songs, I guess we'll come to that, but also in spiritual songs, where you could have music causing young people to behave in some strange ways. We've seen people kill them. We're not seen, but news have come out where young people have killed themselves based on the music they listen to.
Okay. Okay. I've had a strange experience where, and that was a time when I was in school, there was a group of students who, not from the university, but from, a nearby high school, they were listening to a particular kind of music. And we're going to get there in a little bit, right? But the music, it was so dark, and they got involved. The music led them to something else. And eventually, these young persons, they were demon possessed, So
Yes.
I believe it has, a significant impact on the behavior of our young people. Let's look a little bit maybe on the negatives. We see what's happening out there with youth, with young people. Some kind of lifestyle that they're living that is just rogue. What do you think is there in music? How is it that this music actually gets into them to formulate these kind of behavior? Because after all, aren't they just listening it, and in some cases watching these music videos? How it actually gets into change of behavior?
Well, I believe that when you listen to music, the music itself and the lyrics and the contents, it penetrates your brain in a way that it affects you on a psychological level.
Oh.
So at times you may just want to listen to a particular song just to hear it or see
Yes.
what the hype is all about. But subconsciously that's sinking into your brain and you may not even know it, but on a deeper level, some of that has stayed with you.
Oh, okay.
So
Okay.
it affects our brains in ways that we don't necessarily always understand.
Yeah, let me use a text to support what she's saying. There's a text where scripture says, present your bodies a living sacrifice, wholly acceptable unto God, and be not conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind.
Yeah.
So the mind is renewable, right?
Oh.
And as she's saying, psychologically, music can affect you. The words can affect you. And I see growing up, stick and stone can break my bones, or words can't do me no harm. That is not true.
Yeah.
That is not entirely true. Words could do a lot of damage, even in songs.
Yeah.
Right? They can do a lot of damage. Psychologically, it feeds into your brain. And before long, you start to act out some ways that you do. And we've seen it with young people, so many young people who listen to certain genre of music. I've had friends growing up as a kid who began to listen to I don't want to call the name the artist, but reggae music. And then you begin to see accompanying behaviors. People start smoke and start to, twist their hair up and do all kind of different things.
Yes.
It's
Okay.
a psychological effect.
We're going to talk a little bit more about that. So definitely we're saying that music, it goes beyond just the sound and what we hear, is that there's a spiritual lining under it.
Yes.
Okay, so that's important. Now, with that, I can sense that a lot of folks are asking, will he ask the question? But I'm going to ask the question. Should Christian listen to secular music? There it is. I've just asked the question. Should Christian listen to secular music?
Well,
Define that.
I listen to secular music.
You got I think we should,
And
if
you're
you could
Christian?
work on defining secular music,
Yes. It's
then we
different
probably,
levels.
Yeah. So let's talk about it.
yeah. Can you help us define
With the
it? So before I
definition.
speak, I mean, if you could define what secular music is. And
Well,
then
secular
probably
music,
continue with it.
right out the ballpark, right? Those music that are not gospel music that speaks outrightly of the love of Jesus and what he has done for us, or what he's done in individual personal experience. Music outside of that.
Okay. Well, let me say, right, we have different domains of life, right? So we have the spiritual domain, we have the physical domain, we have the emotional domain, intellectual domain. We believe that we are spiritual beings, and spirituality ought to dominate how we live. Now, as it relates to music, you can have music that you may not call gospel music, that may be good for your relationship, like some nice music by old-fashioned Lionel Richie. It may not be good for, as you call, spreading the gospel.
Yes.
But it's the whole matter of building bonding and relationship between you and your spouse. That can be good music. But you do have music that really essentially glorify the devil and Satan, and it's not really good music. I call that secular music. It have nothing to do with the advancement of human beings and the promotion of God and the gospel.
Pastor, what you're saying is profound,
Yes.
because you're bringing out a different understanding in that secular music might not be outrightly secular music. So, so individuals might look at something.
Because I look at secular that is against God, against the gospel, against the advancement of humanity. For instance, in a marriage, there are times when you and your spouse, are together, and the best song is not "There's Power in the Blood."
Yes, I understand.
That's not the best song at that time.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? That's what I talk about. We have domains of the human experience. Right.
Yeah, we're coming down to the break, and I want us to continue this discussion on the other side of the break, right? Because I haven't heard from Marisa, and I haven't heard from the first person to show that, well, I listen to secular music, right? But I appreciate the discussion and the fact that we're seeing that music is powerful. It is something that is impactful. It drives one inner man, inner woman, right? It helps us to be who we are. So I like that. We are in Upsurge, and the discussion is right. The flow and everything is good. And we're asking you, don't move from where you are. Don't touch that dial. Don't change the station. If you have to run to the fridge and get something cool to drink, that's okay. But we will be right back in Upsurge.
Jesus is a rock in a weary land, a weary land, a weary land. Jesus is a rock in a weary land, a shelter in the time of storm. Jesus is a rock in a weary land, a weary land, a weary land. Jesus is a rock in a weary land, a shelter in the time of storm. I would not be a sinner. I'll tell you the reason why. I'm afraid my Lord might come again, and I wouldn't be ready to die. Jesus is a rock in a weary land, a weary land, a weary land. Jesus is a rock in a weary land, a shelter in the time of storm. I would not be a backslider. I'll tell you the reason why. I'm afraid my Lord, he might come again, and I wouldn't be ready to die. Jesus is a rock in a weary land, a weary land, a weary land. Jesus is a rock in a weary land, a shelter in the time of storm. He's a rock in a weary land. He's a rock in a weary land. He's a rock in a weary land, a shelter in the time of storm. He's a rock. a rock in a weary land. He's a rock in a weary land. A shelter in the time of storm. Has he ever made a way when you didn't have the time? Has he ever stepped in just right on time? Has he ever picked you up when you were down? Has he ever placed your feet on solid ground? Do you know he is a rock in a weary land? A weary land, a weary land. Do you know he is a rock in a weary land? A shelter in the time of storm. Has he ever made a way when you didn't have a dime? Has he ever stepped in just right on time? Has he ever picked you up when you were down? Has he ever placed your feet on solid ground? Do you know he is a rock in a weary land? A weary land, a weary land. Do you know he is a rock in a weary land? A shelter in the time of storm. Jesus is a rock, and he is my shelter in the time of storm. Yes, in a weary land, a shelter in the time of storm. Jesus is a rock, and he is my shelter in the time of storm. Yes, in a weary land, a shelter in the time of storm. Jesus is a rock in a weary land, a weary land. Oh yes, he's a rock. He is in a weary land, a shelter in the time of storm. Jesus is a rock in a weary land, a weary land. Oh yes, he's a rock. He is in a weary land, a shelter in the time of storm. Jesus is a rock, and he is my shelter in the time of storm. Oh yes, in a weary land, a shelter in the time of storm. Jesus is a rock, and he is my shelter in the time of storm. Oh yes, in a weary land, a shelter in the time of storm. Jesus is a rock, and he is my shelter in the time of storm. Oh yes, in a weary land, a shelter in the time of storm. Jesus is a rock, and he is my shelter in the time of storm. Oh yes, in a weary land, a shelter in the time of storm. Jesus is a rock, and he is my shelter in the time of storm. Oh yes, in a weary land, a shelter in the time of
Hello and welcome back to Upsurge. The surge is definitely right. Everything is good here, and we're talking about music. What is your vibe? In studio we have, if you're just joining, we have the Executive Secretary of the South Bahamas Conference, Pastor Peter Joseph. We have a student here from the University of the Bahamas, Marisa Greene. And then we also have Monique McKenzie, who is a social worker and, of course, a valued music director in the South Bahamas Conference. Now, we were talking on the other side of the break about should Christian listen to secular music, and the whole thing has changed, right? We're seeing that secular music might not be secular music, all right? But we're talking about music. It's able to say some things that you don't want to say. On the break, Pastor Joseph was saying, you know, it's a communication tool. So we want to pick up on all of those stuff, even before we get back to Pastor Joseph, what he was saying in the break. Sister Monique, you said right out the block. Well, I listen to secular music. Let's talk a little bit about that.
Yes, I do, because, you know, while my gospel music and so forth is first and foremost, there are times when you have different occasions.
Yes.
Right? At weddings and so forth. You know, those other type of music. And so the old school ones, I call them. Now the modern secular music for me is not all of that.
Yeah.
But piggybacking off Pastor Joseph, the Lionel Richie, and the Otis Redding, and those type
I should
artists,
be writing
they, you know, if you listen to the lyrics in it, you know, it is not so bad. So I do listen at times.
Well, for me personally, I know that music not only evokes feelings, but it's used to convey particular ideas, and I feel like at times there is a need to use music to help to portray a particular idea. For example, if we look back during the periods when there was slavery and segregation and persons fighting for the rights and freedoms of other persons, music was also used, and a lot of that music was good music. It was used to help people to come together and understand that, listen, this way is not the right way, but if we unite, you know, we could accomplish something, or we can be better in the future. So I feel like it's also the message behind the music as well. So.
You know, that's a very good point. Again, another domain, because you're talking about social commentary, right? Social commentary is good, and I'm trying to remember the name of the music genre here. We have Ronnie Butler. He sings a lot of like social commentary, right? And he I think he's the one who sang about the Burma Road, right? Is that the going down? Yeah, right. Those things, right. When you look at that, you go back and he gives you a historical context of a social issue, right? So he's communicating what was going on in the society. So the music that communicate in that domain is really good. It's a social commentary, and not necessarily secular in my definition. Secular is anti-God, anti-Bible,
an individual might not readily sit down and listen to, as powerful as it is, you know, a Martin Luther "I Have a Dream" speech.
Right.
But someone might listen to it if a little music go behind it and a little rhythm. So that's what you're saying. So because we are communicating different ways, right? We have rock music, classical music, reggae. That was called a little bit earlier, popular cultural or folks music. The question on everybody's mind out there, right? Are there any particular forbidden genre of music? Or, you know, if there is or if there is not, how do we go about, you know, selecting from these genres?
This is how I feel about music. I'm talking about family perspective on how music affect family and stuff. I believe music has rhythm, lyrics, and harmony, right? And I think those must stay in balance.
Yeah.
The challenge we face with a lot of the music is that the rhythm is extreme.
Yes.
Right? And when the rhythm is extreme, that's a problem.
Yeah.
Right? You talk about rock music, or you could talk about all the various beats of the, you know, maybe reggae or dance or music or whatever. It's just an extreme view in a whole lot of, and in you know, you have on music a lot. I don't know a lot about music, but I kind of read on it. You know, extreme amount of minor keys, and you know, it's just too much, right? It's just
overdone.
Yeah. It's just too much, and it causes a problem because it's focusing on one area. When you have all this rhythm going on, and a woman just taking off her clothes, and they just want to have sex right there, and something not right. It's not balanced. The music is not balanced. Music that is good is music. It's a balanced music. So it's a balance that elevates the mind, right? It makes you feel good, but it doesn't cause you to lose control.
Yes.
Right.
Okay.
I agree with what he's saying, because there has to be a balance. Even if you have, say, a rhythm that is more mellow and the lyrics are out of it, or just something that's absolutely filthy, or it's going to cause a problem, because like everything is going to affect your behavior in one way or another. And if the music itself takes away from its original purpose to uplift God and to have godly values in it, you shouldn't be listening to it.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
Well, I personally agree with that. And you know, the thing is, the norm today with our young people,
Yeah.
if the music is not upbeat and
Yeah.
going on, they call it, oh, this is dead,
Yeah.
boring, and so forth. And
Yeah.
so there's a struggle really
Yeah.
today,
Yeah.
trying to keep our young people focused and helping them to realize that, look, all of this boogalooga and all of this thing, I
Yeah.
mean, sometimes they have the headphone in their ear and they can't even hear what you're saying. When
Yeah.
you really listen to the type of music that they're listening to,
Yeah.
then you realize, say, wow.
Okay,
you know?
okay. We have young persons in the church, right? And many times they're faced with this challenge. The playing of any particular instruments in the worship service.
Okay.
How do we steer that? Because does the Bible have anything to do, say, as it relates to the exclusion of any particular instrument?
Well, if you look at Psalm 150, right, you could see all the different instruments and so on right there. And I was reading to you Genesis chapter 4,
Yeah.
with the beginning of music that was played in the name of Jesus, but for wrong reason. In the
Yes.
name of God, but for wrong reason. Jubal began in Genesis 4 with the harp,
Yes.
right? So music from Eden and even outside of Eden was for music was for the glorification of God,
Yes.
to glorify God. Now, again, we have to constantly look at like skillful playing of instruments.
Oh.
You're talking about the Levites.
Yes.
The Levites were set apart, and they had the Levites who were skilled in music, right? As a matter of fact, I think they were paid to play as well.
Yeah.
So music was played skillfully. So any instrument must be played skillfully,
Yes.
right? So there is nothing inherently evil in any instrument,
Yes.
right? The people who play, people could be evil,
Yes.
right? but not the instrument. And sometimes the instrument is played not skillfully and also played for other purposes.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
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 All right. So that does answer the question,
That
right?
answers the question.
And I believe that was a sore question out there that you know a lot of persons will take that. So the church has a responsibility then
Right.
to culture music in the church, make sure that instruments are there and it is played properly.
Right,
So-
and don't just come and say, okay, we don't need drums in here. Okay, I'm
Yeah.
not saying that you're supposed to go to a church and just put drums there
Yeah.
if the people have a culture, because there could be a culture in there against drums, and you're
Yeah.
going to rush put drums in and have a
Yeah.
problem. But people have to be educated to
Yeah.
understand that many times, and here again we're going to go into
Yeah.
a controversial issue, many times the reason why drums get such a hard rap in church is because it came from Africa, really.
Yeah.
I mean,
Definitely.
when you look at, in terms of its use, when I say
Yes.
came, a lot of the use of it, right, it's from Africa, and it was played in rituals and so
Yeah.
on. So people associate,
Stereotype.
yeah, people associate
religious
certain
ceremonies.
evil
Yeah.
Okay.
with drums, and so,
Yeah.
and then everything come from Europe is fine and
Yeah.
dandy, right? So,
Okay.
right? So
All right. So
that-
we're out of
that's
time.
all.
We're out of time. Can you believe
Yeah,
it?
yeah, yeah.
I just want in just a sentence, a short sentence. You know, say something to the young persons out there, as you know, they have music as a part of their lifestyle.
Well, me personally, I would say to you, get up in the morning, do something like Marisa, get some nice music, play some nice music. Even like there's a good song. It really puts you in the right frame of mind
Yeah.
for God to enter into your life and direct your life during the day. So
Yeah.
use music for that purpose, for God to it's a worship experience, and God leads you through
Okay.
the day.
Marisa?
Well, all I can say is, just try to stay clear of music that doesn't glorify God and doesn't uplift godly values. So if the lyrical contents are not right, if the beat is off, if the music glorifies something else or draws attention to something that takes away from God's glorification, just stay away from
Stay
it.
away.
Well, she said it right. Just stay away from those type of music. Stay in tune, with the Holy Spirit and the Lord, and all will be well.
Okay, thank you so much. I really appreciate having you guys here on Upsurge. We're looking forward to have you another time. This has been Upsurge. The Surge it has been really good. It's music. What is your vibe? Make sure that your vibe is in tune with God's vibe. Make sure it's right. So on behalf of the entire production team, and of course, our producer, Michelle Greene, we just want to tell you that we're happy that you were here with us in Upsurge. And I am LG. See you next week, and it's a wrap.